Welcome to You Had to Be There, the podcast where we deep dive into the world of the music industry. I'm your host, Julia Gomberg. This week, I'm so excited to end 2025 with a really special episode featuring one of my all-time favorite bands, Twen. I'm joined by Jane and Ian to talk about their DIY approach in everything they do from the band when it comes to writing songs, to touring across the country, to managing themselves, and what it's taken for them to really find success on their own terms. Be sure to also check out Jane and Ian's curated playlist alongside this episode in the episode show notes, and you can follow their band Twen along at the links I've included as well. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next year.
Hey, I'm Jane, and I'm in Twen, and I write and sing.
My name is Ian. I am also in the band Twen, and I play guitar and write and sing.
Amazing.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, I feel like you guys are already humbly downplaying how much you really do. I can't wait to get into it because I think that's just scratching the surface from what I know. But so cool. I am a huge fan of you guys. I saw you last 2 years ago at Baby's All Right.
Oh, nice.
So that was a really fun show. Yeah. So I've been following you guys ever since. And how did this all start for you both? How did you guys link up originally?
Came from the carnage of other bands, of horribly failed band dynamics. And that was back when we were younger and dumber. And I had a band in college, and so did Ian. And they both ended dramatically. And then we decided to start making music together. But it was only kind of through, I had moved back home to where I'm from, St. Louis. And we were kind of writing.
This is in Boston. This is all happening in Boston.
We both went to school in Boston.
Okay.
So it was kind of in that DIY basement scene. I ran a house venue for a couple of years.
Young college punk.
And you think that, you're this is it. It feels like you're creating the world in your own hands because you're running the venue and you're doing all these things, even though it's 200 drunk kids in your basement, but it feels amazing.
Yeah. Some would argue that's more challenging in a way.
Yeah. No, horrible things happened, but in a fine way. I got robbed a couple of times, but then it would sometimes resurface. I remember wallets being stolen and then they would come back. Wow. And then a pipe burst in the basement because someone did down and poop water goes everywhere. So it's, but it's fun then. Now, not so fun, but in the past, it's a delightful memory.
Absolutely. No, that makes total sense. Yeah.
Then we started when I moved away, kind of just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because I had went to school for design, and I got a corporate girly design job, and I was not really loving it. Even though it was probably the coolest design job you could have because it was with Converse, but it still didn't.
Converse sneakers.
Converse, yeah.
No way.
And because they're based in Boston, but it was not, something was pushing me away from that environment. And then I went back home to figure it out. And then we started writing once his band dramatically broke up as well. We started writing over the phone and through voice memos, and that's what became Twen.
Wow.
And that's in fall of 2016.
Yeah.
Fall of 2016. That's crazy. And here we are today. That's a decade. Yeah, the next year will be a decade. That's crazy.
I know.
No, it's awesome. And I think it's cool too because I know people have described you guys as being your sound being very 1965, right? 1995 and then 2025. So it's cool to just see all the time, but you guys sound so timeless, I guess is my point. It's just, it makes sense, but it's super interesting. Who would you say in terms of your style being pretty unique, how did you guys kind of figure out that you have similar influences or styles? How did you find that chemistry?
I think just because we had been together for 4 years or so at that point, so we were just always hanging out anyway. By the time we made the band, but before we started even writing music, we were hanging out all the time, just listening to bands in college and going to see bands and playing in our own band. So it was there were a lot of burger record bands at that point, butt rock, garage rock, so that sort of shit. And then a lot of indie folk at that time, in the 20-aughts.
I remember we were obsessed with Jessica. Still
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just had similar tastes anyway. Or at least complementary tastes, you know.
Overlapping. There's a very large Venn diagram. There's something I'm into that Ian isn't into, and vice versa. But I think that has to happen. I think
we're all just people.
A conversation.
Plus, I think that adds to like more of like makes it a little spicier, right? It's like just you know you don't know what the other person could.
We like every single thing and nothing else, just what each other like.
Yeah, no, that would be weird. Yeah, but that's really cool, and that I mean it makes sense, and I think it's one of those things that comes very unspoken, and then you can really hear it. Like I think you can hear the difference between the synergy that you guys have versus some other bands. I'm not gonna like be specific of who, but like I do
every single one.
Every band. Yeah, totally. No, but that's really cool. And I know like I was gonna ask, so I discovered you guys from your One Stop Shop album. I'm trying to remember how. It may have been, I hate to give credit to it, but I think it was the algorithm. It just put you guys on my
now you may publicly thank the Lord algorithm.
It's all right for me.
People love
to do
that. Yeah, people love to thank the algorithm.
It's true, that does happen.
I'm just such a playlist person, so I hate to give credit to it, but I've made many playlists for friends with you guys, so I guess I'm passing it forward. But the song that stood out for me, I remember like literally stopped me in my tracks, was Fortune 500.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the process for that and like the meaning?
Oh yeah, I think the phrase
that song took forever. It took a couple of years. Because we had a song called Change the Rules, and so all the chords and the riffs, like I had the music and the bass line and stuff,
and I had made a failed attempt to make it cool, and so that happens sometimes, vice versa. Like if I have a part and like Ian comes up with some like chord things or like a riff and it's like that's not the vibe, it doesn't hold up, and then I'll try to make something out of his riffs and it's like doesn't hold up, and then you just harvest it later.
So there was music there, but there was not a song. There was no like real identity to it, and it probably took 2 years
in the process of writing, because we had ours is never like about a one time that happens with these albums. It's like usually like these series of chunks in different places that are
so interesting.
Demoing and writing kind of happens at the same time too, since we write everything. So it's like you kind of be hearing that to hear like the drum.
Because we don't have a band in the room with us to hear it back immediately, so you got to constantly track shit. And then
bass lines and drum grooves you have, like I have to hear them to know what.
I think a lot of bands are like that nowadays, just because of laptops and shit like that.
Right. No, that
bedroom producers.
And then I think the phrase Fortune 500 just came naturally out of like, because I'm usually just searching for melodies and things, reacting to on like a loop, like so we'll like play the riff or the chord progression or the bass line like on a loop, and then I'll just be like, okay, let's bring something from download it or something. And sometimes it comes with a phrase, sometimes it's just a melody, but the best ones are, and if I can do it at the same time, kind of not even conscious, it's kind of just coming out of nowhere. So Fortune 500, I remember, just kind of came out of that, and I was like, oh, that's like an interesting premise for a song. And thinking about if you do have any sort of money too, like we didn't really have that much money at the time, but when you like start to be like, well, should I start investing or putting something and then you feel like you're a part of the system, or like you don't know what you're investing in, and then there's like an ethical quality of that. And I think that's all the things I was thinking about with that.
And we were like in our early to mid 20s at that point, which is when you naturally start thinking about
of course
I need to start doing that. Do I need to start doing that? Is there another way to do that? And then just thinking about what all of that actually means when you are
makes so much sense.
In the top 500 companies in the US, like
Fortune 500, you gotta put your money somewhere to get high where you are. You gotta go what you gotta get some. So I keep running.
By the way, we have no idea about any of that shit.
It's okay. I don't care.
It's not like that song didn't make us do anything.
No, right. We're like, wrote a song about it. That's it. That's all we need to do.
That's so fun. That's your contribution. Yeah. Yeah. I think it resonated with me because like I live in New York and I think I kind of have that internal like battle of like the creative interested side. And then, but also like, should I be, doing what my finance bro friends are doing? And so I think that's why it really resonated with me.
Like hearing you say that, a lot of people pick that song as their favorite or the one that got them, but like it wasn't released as a single. And I remember thinking at the time that we put that record out, because we were just like, what are the singles? Because any song on this record could be a single. And that's one of the most beautiful things about Twen as a band is that like everybody's entry point seems to be a different song.
Yeah.
Because like if you get 10 people coming up to you after a show that will say, oh, this is my song, that's my song, they're almost always 70 or 80% of what you would hear are different songs.
Because we have our top like home and one stop shop, but I would say it's a much more varied, like it is statistically from our experience anyway.
Totally. That's really interesting and must feel good, I would imagine.
It feels so good. It's just like constant validation that we're not a one-hit wonder or a
exactly
pony.
Or like a viral hit, which kind of helps you on the other side where you're like, we have friends and people that have other bands that have had like maybe something like a viral hit and it has grown their band to a certain level, but then like it has its own
you live in the shadow of
it.
Like people never get to that point again, basically is what it kind of feels like, which I'm glad I don't feel.
Oh my gosh,
just making more and not to feel like, oh, I'll never be as good as my one song.
That one song. Yeah, no, that's really interesting. And it's true, like societally, I think with like social media, that's what they kind of like make you think you're supposed to like do. And I was just talking to a friend about like TikTok and trending songs. They all disappear, you know what I mean? Like, which is a bummer, but I think that kind of speaks to
you have to sustain it with something else if you're gonna like, and that's at a level that's just like, I don't know, Sabrina Carpenter or something. That's that's some other like corporate structure I don't know about.
We're really not playing that game. We're like what we focus on is making something that has depth and that connects to people as individuals. Like we're not really worried about the industry. We're not really worried about like that context. We try and focus just on like, is this a song that is going to hit somebody, an individual in the heart? And it's like, if we focus on that, it's a much better place to live than worrying about anything else regarding metrics or the industry or other bands. It's like we try to have and that's come after many years where you try and focus in on the kind of spiritual aspect of music rather than the material aspect of it.
And that I think comes from a confidence we're getting with time of like, oh, like you can just keep making songs, like we're making things, like we're the creative force behind it. So that's what pushes it forward as well.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to touring and when you interact with your audience, like what has it been like to kind of see your audience grow from like listeners to fans, like? Because I feel like you guys have really developed a fan base, especially I don't know. I saw like you have so many sold out shows, which is so sick.
That's a new one for us, which we're stoked about because that was
amazing.
Like a milestone that we're like, oh, we don't need everyone, but like on a tour, I'd love to have that. You can't come.
That's also a big deal for us because we're not signed to a label or whatever, and because we've everything about us is spread through word of mouth. Wow, like there's never been an overarching budget that's blasting it out to people. We don't get covered in the press really.
No PR machine or hype machine.
If you're at a Twen show, like nobody is telling you to be there. You're there because you found it, and it's like stumbled across it. And so after being touring for 8 years or whatever, to get to that point where you're selling shows out means a whole lot more than a band that's been around for a year gets a deal and then is immediately selling out. Like we're able to appreciate that because we know what it's like to be a band and not have that.
Yeah.
So, I'm very thankful to the people that are at the shows. It's like so beautiful. And most of the time, like I can only hope that this is sustainable. Like everyone that I interact with seems like super cool. Like
we have really fucking good like audiences.
I'm like, I would hang out with you. Like all of them. very diverse in like what they do or their interests, or even kind of what other musical genres they're into. There'll be like people that come from like liking other metal bands or liking like folk stuff or like, you know, the indie rockers. And I can't really like put a I don't know.
Our door is ajar to everyone.
It seems to be, at least at this point in time. I don't really know.
And we do get confirmation from that from like the support bands we'll have on, because they'll come up to us after and they'll be like, everyone that's coming up to my merch table is so sweet. Like your fans are really, really nice.
Oh, wow.
But none of them are blockheads, you know?
Yeah.
And that's been our experience too, because we've opened up for so many other artists and their audiences. Not all of their audiences, but some bands have audiences that are full of blockheads.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure.
Where, you know, people will say like crazy shit to you, or like you'll have something get thrown out, or like
just that fucking attitude.
And yes, at least at this point, has not happened yet. I don't know if that happens with more growth, if you get the turnover, or if it's hypey and people who are just kind of, I don't know, coming at it for the wrong reason, but hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's really funny because I remember at the Baby's All Right show, I took notice of like, I'm always like looking around to see, you know, like who, and I live in that neighborhood, so I'm like, who's here? And it was super diverse, and I was like, oh, it must be a Brooklyn thing, you know, like you get, but it really wasn't in retrospect, because when I walk around, I don't see those same people. There's just more blockheads, as you said, in my neighborhood in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. But there was just like this really cool like synergy of the audience that I felt a part of. That was like, this was like such an independent discovery for me. And like, I already have very like sentimental associations with a lot of your songs, so to be able to like share that with like a room and it feeling very unpretentious was like a really telling experience for me of like your success.
Thanks.
Yeah,
like, what more could I want? That's like the best thing I've ever heard. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And then so I like kind of want to talk about, we're kind of like hinting at what you guys do. Like, can we talk a little bit about like you guys are so impressive already to me, but like, I guess starting with Jane, I know you're very much on the creative side, like you said. Like, what's your favorite part about having so much creative liberty?
I mean, every part. I mean, most of the time, though, it is like the workflow is one that is sometimes debilitating. Since there isn't like a big boss person or even a label person or even a management, it's amazing that even if you're still doing music, there can still be like the boss, the whatever, the authority. Like maybe you have to do things you don't want to do, and in any work you have to do things that you don't want to do, but because we're running the ship, I'm like able to tolerate that way easier. So any of the slog or logistics or anything that is like, I'm like, but I can do it any way I want to, which is
right.
But I love the videos whenever a video like begins and ends, like that whole entire progression of like, it could be this, like an idea, like our most recent one, just because it just came out today. The Christmas one, that was just like when we wrote these songs really randomly, like the day after we finished the album, we were like, let's just write some Christmas songs. And I didn't want to, it like was a haunting. Like I was like, it was one thought of like, what if we had a Christmas song? And then it came, and I was like, wow.
This BYOB is so fun. And I was listening to it at the gym this morning, and I loved the little tub thumping reference. I was so sick, but I also think it's just so hard to make a modern holiday song that like sticks, and so I give you guys a lot of credit. Like I think you nailed it. But what was it like to do? Was it like a different like creative process doing a holiday song versus your usual stuff?
Luckily the idea of like, you know, I'm living for my best friend's party, like the premise of going to your friend's party rather than like staying at your family's, that luckily came as like a fully formed thought kind of download. So luckily like the idea or the premise was there, and then just the execution, which like we had just come off the album, so we were like almost like oiled up and greased up and ready to like keep on making stuff. And it was a opportunity, almost like there's always mixing things on an album that you're like, maybe that could have been different, maybe this could, but you have to just like submit it, and you have to stop yourself at a certain point. And it was nice to like keep that process going afterwards. Like, now we can have like fulfillment of the things we couldn't finish before and put it in this new music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mostly haunting. It was weird. Like, what do I want as a Christmas song? And then that it came. So there wasn't a lot of conscious thought going into it, luckily, because that can get in the way.
Yeah, very true. And yeah, Ian, like in terms of everything you do, I know you're kind of the music master. I don't know, but yeah. What I mean, you kind of touched a little bit about like the nuances of it, but like what parts do you really enjoy and what parts do you find most challenging?
Yeah. I think a lot of times it just depends on the song, but for a lot of songs I'll take on more of a role of producer. Like if Jane has a really clear download about, she'll start singing to me, and sometimes like her melodies are so sort of fleshed out in their shape and their arc, and they melodically tell a story, and the phrases and the cadence and everything is like a very well constructed musical thought. And so that makes my job super easy because I can start to hear, even if she's just humming something to me, like I can fill in all the gaps, and I can kind of create a pretty concrete idea, I can hear like, oh, this is gonna go like this, da, 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 and it's hard to articulate that, but you're just hearing it in your head, and so that is kind of the good part of it. The bad part of it can be that you're hearing something in your head, and that takes time to flesh out, because you're going to be tracking. A lot of times we're just starting with a drum loop or some sort of drum in the computer because we're writing it together, and then doing bass, doing guitar. Sometimes as I'm trying things out on guitar, it's a process of elimination. So I'll start playing something. And I kind of already know that it's not going to be this way, but I'll play it because I'm just kind of like figuring out the key, figuring out the, whether it's a major or minor song. Like how are we going to interpret Jane's melody that she just downloaded and is singing to me? And then kind of figuring that out in real time, bouncing it off Jane. She'll be like, yes to that, no to that. And then we work it out.
The instant, like instinctual.
Yeah. And depending on the musical idea that she's brought forth, fleshing it out can be difficult, easy, quick, can take 2 years, like
it depends. And it sucks when you like something a lot, or if like you have one bit that you're like, I like this so much, and then trying to make that, sometimes that makes it worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have some thought in your head about it that maybe you don't even know what it is. Like, and then you're trying to figure it out, and like it needs to be this thing, whereas if it's more throwaway or like, let's just try it out. That is like the one process, but I think it gets to the same outcome. Honestly, I'm in the mindset now that the things that feel easy and the things that feel hard, like they can both be like successful or resonant with people.
A lot of times you hear people say, "Oh, the ones that come quick land the best with people." And though I understand that, and I think that that's true, it's not always true. And sometimes songs that are just really painful births really connect, so
or that you did painstaking like mixing on, or like something you couldn't get right, and then you're like, oh, is it right? And then it happens to really like resonate with people. And our experience is both ways are
I know that to answer the back end of your question, which is what's the not fun part or the difficult parts, it's like when you feel like you've got a great song but you didn't nail the recording, because like there's a few of our songs where I'm like, oh, that song would have done much better because it's a really well-written song and it's catchy and it's got all the right things, but we kind of didn't hit the mix as good as I wish I had, or the master is kind of weird, or and I think that can get in the way of you hearing a good song. Is because really the production didn't land quite right. And so there's so many songs where I wish we could go back and do it again, and maybe we will one day. But
maybe, that's the death of a lot of bands, I think, whenever you hear about through time, not even recently, like what The Laws.
They made this great record, The Laws. That's one that there she goes again.
Oh yes,
So they redid their album. I don't know how many fucking times. Like they just kept doing it. And basically fizzled their band out because they couldn't commit to a recording.
Oh, wow.
Like, we got these songs we like, but we're never happy with the recording.
I feel like I've heard that story a lot of times, and even like people we know, like it's I think we've tried to not stay in that, to be like, well, just do what you can, just get it out.
Right.
Yeah, we're trying not to be too precious about
like a balance of
I was gonna say that must be such a balance, such a delicate balance of like knowing like when to let it go and like let it be. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, like I would imagine that's so intuitive based.
I've also found like for me personally, I don't really care about like the sonics, and I think that nowadays, because of the democratization of music production, like you have tons and tons of records that sound really, really great, but there's no fucking songs. So like I don't think the song has to come first. We are not short on that. We have tons of great songs. And like it's really not about whether it's a good recording, it's about whether the recording translates and serves the song. So that might be a low-fi recording, it might be a high-fi recording. It's just kind of like getting something that feels sticky and complements the song that you've written. So, you know, that's kind of the where I live most of the time is trying to translate those ideas in the best way.
Wow. I mean, that is a full-time job in itself. And then you're touring and you're performing and you're releasing. That's crazy.
And we're wrapping up merch and packaging it up and sending it out. It's just like, honestly, you're doing accounting, budgeting, fucking driving the van, doing van maintenance. Like,
you guys are a Fortune 500 company as far as
we talk about that a lot. If we exerted the amount of labor we do on this band in any other endeavor of any other industry, we'd be rolling in it.
I know,
but because we're a fucking indie rock band, like people
had to
would
be rock
shocked.
stars.
People would be shocked at the hours we work. You know, it's just never ends.
And it's a lot of different skill sets that I can't say if we do everything like the best it can be, but I think it may be hard for other types, at least other musicians I know exactly, to do their accounting or to like plan a tour logistically, like because our band members all live in different cities, so we're flying them in every tour. And for
this tour, it's 4 legs. It's 60 shows across 4 legs, and we have 5 crew members. Every one of them needs a flight in and out, so that's 40 flights that we booked.
So it's this kind of like point efficiency, like logistic, like how to do that. And I think we've gotten much better with that in time, but it also takes time.
Yeah, like the fact that we're still here doing this and able to pull that shit off is a fucking miracle.
I know.
It's more of a, but it makes me so proud because it's more of a success than like any other thing that you could possibly be doing. Is that being a mom and pop band. And then being able to pull off what we pull off is like,
and you can't take it away. It's like because of the experience, and if things get harder or like tighter or whatever, like through the ebbs and flows, I'm like, you got this. Like it's fine.
We've had 15 band members spontaneously combust.
I've gone through many bands.
Like you can't take this.
They probably they can't keep up, you know what I mean? Like
some people don't like to, and that was like in our much like sometimes we were, that was in our early days, different styles of tour, more DIY. But some people are like, oh, I don't like this. Like once they go on a tour,
I thought I wanted to do this, but not actually.
I don't actually like this on tour, and sometimes you don't know until you're on it, and then you're like, oh well. Okay, well then we got to find somebody else. Where they're just not as fun to hang out with as you thought.
Oh, that's also such a good point too. It's like, again, because also you guys have that synergy, so you need people that are going to help build you up and keep that momentum going, and not the opposite. And I feel like it can be very hit or miss.
Oh yeah,
it was many years of trying to work that out
the hard way. And luckily we have each other that like helps.
Yeah.
So if it was like not a great fit, like
good cop, bad cop,
we'd be able to like do it wouldn't be debilitating or anything. Like we could finish it. Like there was never a point where like we have to stop the tour. Like that's never
right. Well,
ever. We're not that dramatic, but it would be like, oh, this is kind of like annoying or something, or like maybe the music.
Can't wait till we get home and this person's out of my life forever.
or the music wasn't like being executed as well as we thought it could be. And so, but now our band, I'm like, I hope they like touring. They seem to really like it. They're good time boys, and they like to see things, and go places.
And they're welcome to be as much a part of it as they want to be. Really, it's like, if you want to be here, great. If you don't want to be here, just give us a heads up so we can get someone else in. But they're in,
There's no like a tightness, which I think in some of those like democratic bands, if you're all like truly like we're all equal and we're all doing the same thing, that can be confusing with roles, and then you're like dependent on someone's availability.
Somebody always does more work than somebody else. So that's not. We learned the hard way that bands are not democracies, and you just got to define your roles, and we rule with an iron fist.
But I think defining a role, that's everything. Like with like what you're expected to do, and then if you have that, it's really easy. Actually, you just need a parameter.
Wow, that's super interesting. I've like not thought, because I'm not in a band, I've not really thought about it from that perspective. So once you guys kind of have, let's say, a song, you've got it down, and then you're rehearsing, how is it to like trust other people with your music and like the execution of like kind of teaching everyone those songs?
Like we handpicked all the band members, and I knew like it was important to have competent musicians, because as a musician you want to play with other good musicians,
Sure. Better and makes you able
to, for years we were having to hire people that were like below our kind of
it would be a different style. Like it would just be like just pure rock, and like anything that was not on floor on the floor.
No.
I'm trying to be nice about it.
No, they were
trying to soften it.
They were musically incompetent.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Incompetency. And and so it was important with this iteration to have competency and somebody that we trust can faithfully execute the music that we write. Like a lot of our bass lines are very, there's a lot going on, musically speaking.
Melodic. They're very melodic.
Right. Yeah, very.
Rock music. And
most of the bands that we are kind of get lumped in with in the algorithm and stuff, like they wouldn't know syncopation if it slapped them in the face.
Right.
I mean, everything is straight eighth notes. Da 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 da. Every is going da 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 da. So, and that's like not what our music is about at all. And so
each song is different too.
And so you have to have somebody who has a funky bone in their body on the drums and the bass, and
a variety of music. And I think we have a lot of, though there's like there's certain music tastes that I'm not fully on board with each of our band members. We again have a really big Venn diagram of things with each person brings to the table. And Ian makes, since he's tracking the bass, we write the melodies together, but he's tracking everything. I don't know.
So I'll make instructional videos to give to Asher and Cam and for it
to show exactly what to do. And then it's like you have to do it this, like if there's like some ways that
Cam and Asher both add their own things to the guitar and bass, but I teach it to them.
That's really cool. And again, more work for you, but I think it pays off. You're everything. You're a music teacher.
He's a great music teacher. Actually, he's really good.
That's really cool. Also, that's a really good skill to have, though. Like just the patience of that in itself, I think, is really like a valuable trait to be like with collaboration.
Totally. It's kind of like a band leader vibe as well, because I'm not as good. Thank God Ian is around, because when something's happening, I'm like, oh, it feels off, but I can't really identify it, especially when I'm singing. I don't know what happens. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can't actually point out what's going on of like, was that the bass line groove? Was that like the drum part? Or like, did you not come in, and Ian's really easily able to identify that. In the moment.
I mean, it's one thing to play your instrument. It's another thing to be conscious of the arrangement as it's happening and listening to the other musicians, So it's like, that is it's important. It's a big part of our rehearsals is like attention to detail and being thorough with the arrangements.
But they don't really the band members learn it ahead of time, and then we just rehearse like 2 days before a tour.
Whoa.
I've been getting Airbnbs where we just stay and we rehearse it right before the tour starts in whatever city the first date is in.
Wow, you have it down to a science. It sounds like for sure.
You would too. You would too.
Oh yeah, no, you would have to. I would imagine. Especially for how long you're on tour. Like, it's just a necessity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of other collaborations, I know you guys had that song with Big Wild, and I am a big Wild fan. So when I saw that you guys had the song, I was like, it was so affirming. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, so this really cool band likes this really cool producer and artist and vice versa. And so that must mean I'm cool now. But how did that come to be?
Well, we were so lucky that he asked us to play, like, to open for him at, like, Red Rocks, not like a small show. And we were like, oh my God. And I think he said, like, some family member, like, introduced him to us. Like, musically, not like us personally.
We had never even heard of Big Wild.
No, it's kind of, but our friends who are like Denver, like, festival people, they knew Big Wild, and they're like, oh my God. And we were like, oh, we weren't hip to the scene. And we were like, like, I didn't even know this whole thing was going on. So it was really cool that he was a fan of us. It was like very whole different genre that we're like, oh, that's awesome that we can kind of like resonate over there too. And we played the shows with him first, and then after that it was such a fun experience, and it was so cool to see like his fan base is wild. It's so fun.
yeah, it's in the Venn diagram somewhere.
The festival crowd. So it was really fun that when he was doing his new album, he's like, oh, I have this. He sent like kind of a portion of a song that wasn't like finished. And then he had it was very interesting working with someone else in that way, because you just learn how different someone's brain is when they come to arrangement parts. So like he had some like arrangement that he was like, this is the arrangement and here are like the gaps that I want you to fill in. I don't know if that's exactly gonna work. So he was like able to like have a conversation with us about, oh, I think it needs to lead into this part now. And so it was like, it was interesting.
We can't work like that. Like we're more hands-on and holistic with what we write.
Yeah.
So we were like,
or something.
We reached a certain point and we were like, let's stop and tear this thing apart and put it back together again. And he was down for that. He's like, you're right. You know, and Jackson's beautiful, like totally talented, amazing. I love the new record.
Yeah.
And
very good. Yeah. And I love that.
Nothing but love and respect.
Made us like itch to do it again, like, because now we just are like, oh, I want to what other collaborations can we have, because it's very fun to see how someone else's brain works with music, because we're just going off each other, and you have to have like it worked out. It would be hell doing that. Like, I don't know how songwriters like in LA or something, where they're like working with someone new every day and be like, well, let's write a song. You know? That would be, I think, exhausting. Like, I need the comfort of like all the shit we figured out over the years.
Totally.
It does make it fun to kind of see where someone else's brain is at.
I can't imagine it being good, and I feel like I'm my suspicion is validated all the time, because I'm like, oh yeah, all these like pop songs that have a ton of writers on them, these songs suck. Not well written, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you know?
Musically.
So I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I can go write songs with 14 people, but I think we understand why the music business is in the state it's in. Well, and that's the model, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Like, I love looking up song credits, and anytime I see more than 3 lines, I'm like turned off. I'm like,
yeah,
just because it's like, who did what? I don't know. Like, like, were they in the room and that's what it is, or like, were they doing the lyrics? Really, like, I don't know. It's just
producer changing a bass line after the fact. I'm not really sure. Like, we're not. We've only had like a friend or two in the past that have like dabbled in that kind of more professional in Nashville scene, like that songwriting thing.
Right.
Just I've never it seems very vocal forward, like lyric forward sometimes without like melody, which I just don't understand. Like, my brain doesn't understand. Like, the melody first, and then like I never write things down and then be like, how do I shove this into a song?
A great song has to feel like it came out of the ether and that it has always existed. And that song, it cannot, no a single part of that song could be changed. It's like it is exactly what it is trying to be. It existed before it was written, and it'll exist after. Like that's the feeling that you have to get from a great song, and that's what makes it great. I think like if you have developed your craft as a songwriter, you can get close to that when you have to bang it out. But like a really great song comes from inspiration from the ether, is downloaded.
Not something some people really relate to that. I just don't understand it. If it just sounds like you're kind of like just speaking words out, like it doesn't have a very memorable melody, but that's just
a
different style of songwriting that I am not.
No, exactly. Yeah. Which is always funny too, because like especially like that top 40 like 2010 era is so like I know immediately like for nostalgia purposes I love it, like I don't know, like an Usher song that was on the radio in like 2011 but it's stuck there, like it's not timeless. It is very representative of that era and it probably should stay there.
And there's some pop bangers that I still listen to.
Oh, for sure.
Great. Not all music, not every song that's ever written has to be timeless. It's fine to be of your time, but I think with that aspiring to make something deeper that's less top, like you know,
that's what gets us going. That's what like makes us, you know, we're Beatles fans, we like so many genres of music through time all the way back. That's what interests us, is like, can you make something that
for most of human existence, like music, you'd have to travel to hear it before you had the technology. So like music is inherently a spiritual thing that should guide you, you know, upwards proverbially in some fashion. And so I think like that's both in the back of Jane and I's minds, is like that just because we're in this like commercialized, commodified music industry, like pop music and indie rock music can still it can get you to transcend, you know, and ideally that's what we should be aiming for, not just, hey baby, you know, I'm great and this is great 16th notes and look how hot I am. Like fuck all that. That's not what we do. We don't want anything to do with it. Like
it's like both foot in one door. Like how can you kind of what you want society to look like with something that's like having fun? That's simple as that.
I think that we try to cover we try to cover the gamut and the widest palette of emotions and songs, and like there's really funky, funny, silly songs. There's really ballady, you know, heartfelt songs. You know, it's like there and
we like them all.
Yeah, and it tries and lives under the umbrella of Twen.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's so many different sounds and themes, but it's still at the same time very cohesive. I wanted to ask about your newest album, Fate Euphoric. I know that there are these kind of really interesting themes, and I think it kind of, from what I understand, it plays with like ideas of, you know, surrender and control. And how do you personally balance like trusting the process and like planning for things?
Ooh. I think that definitely touches on, I think a lot of what we sing about and the themes that come through the music are how we actually operate. Like isn't just like a thing you talk about and then you don't do it. And that intuition part of how we work, and letting go of things that are out of your control or like feels like fate, like chance, something bad happened, something good happened, and kind of guiding you, what should I be doing? Like what is the way forward? We've learned through many years, and especially it was with One Stop Shop where we really started to act this way of going on intuition, like of our own gut, and some things that didn't exactly make sense, or maybe that were like hauntings of our brains from like old music industry stuff, or like what you hear people online tell you to do or something like that, whatever that is. You know, we would maybe be doing the opposite, or maybe not even caring about that, because it didn't feel right in our gut. And like that's a whole thing in itself, on how to pay attention to your own intuition, because I think everyone's works differently. Mine is like very quick. Mine's like yes, no. Like Ian's is not like that. His is more like he'll kind of just get these like splenic, like like I think we should do that. And I don't really have a reason for it, and kind of come out of nowhere. So each person is different, and I think us figuring out how to work with those has helped us, like through even like logistical business things, like the boring stuff, not even the music part, and like how we should structure what we do in our lives. And then so that in the album itself, the like the powerlessness of everything that is happening today, with just the bleak political climate we're in, and like the billionaire class and everything, that just feels like, oh shit, this is on this wheel that's going forward, and you can see like you could do these things to prevent it. And there's been so many times that I've had hope, like just to see them all just crumble away and feel so inevitable towards a path you don't agree with. Obviously makes you feel powerless, but it's like a balance of, do you succumb to that and apathy? Do you like try to motivate yourself, but there's a burnout element to that? So I think this whole album was like a exploring what that feeling is and trying to emotionally process the feeling of powerless rather than like coming up with an answer for it.
That's so well said. It's super interesting. I mean, what a gift it is that you get to use music to kind of figure that all out and process all of that. And furthermore, like people listening to that album who maybe not able to quite articulate or conceptualize that, like it would really resonate. And I think that's really powerful.
Oh, good. Yeah. I mean, I think we would be going crazy if like we didn't.
Yeah.
If I didn't have that outlet, I don't know what I would be doing. Like, I'm so thankful for that. And I can only hope that is what people feel when they listen to it. I would be like, so happy if that was happening.
Yeah, it resonates with me. So I can imagine I'm not the only one, but it's a great album. So congrats, and sounds like you're in a sweet spot, even though you're sleep deprived. And I hope that you can have some downtime before you hit the road again in February, right? That's when it kicks off again.
So luckily we got January off, and this Christmas slog is almost over. So
yes, right. You had to squeeze one more in, but yeah, it definitely was worth it. Thank you so much. And I like to ask, if you could give your music careers so far an album title, what would you name them?
Late Bloomers.
Oh, but I knew that you were going to say that.
No way.
I would say the same, but maybe Aging Like a Fine Wine.
Ooh, like the subtitle of it. Yeah. Yes. That's like pretty self-explanatory, and also like really summarizes everything we talked about. But yeah, I'm so excited for all that's come for you guys. I will be continuing to cheer you on. And where can people find you guys?
Well, we got the new June. It's on all streaming services. We got we're big on YouTube. We make so many cool videos on there. So definitely, I think if you're new to us, go to the YouTube first and see us and hear us at the same time.
Yeah, and there's a new song, another Christmas single called Yuletide Moon coming out next Friday, although it is available on Bandcamp right now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much.